In the theater of geopolitics, the Suwalki Gap stands as a humble actor with an outsized role. This seemingly ordinary stretch of land spanning about 65 kilometers between Poland and Lithuania is actually a geopolitical superstar. It's like the unassuming key to a mighty fortress. This is because of its strategic location nestled between the Russian enclave of Kaliningrad and Belarus. Both these regions are brimming with significant military presence. So imagine the Suwalki Gap as the gateway to NATO's eastern flank, a critical corridor for the movement of troops and supplies, particularly during a conflict. It's like a vital artery, pulsating with strategic significance. And, just like an artery, if it's cut off, the consequences could be dire. The Suwalki Gap, therefore, is not just a strip of land. It is a critical buffer zone in the grand scheme of NATO's strategic defense. When it comes to NATO's security considerations, the Baltic states hold a position of paramount importance. Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, these former Soviet republics, since joining NATO in 2004, have become critical members of the alliance. Their strategic location on the eastern flank of NATO, however, also places them in a potentially vulnerable position due to their proximity to Russia. Picture this. You have three states, each with their own unique histories and cultures, yet united by a common thread: their strategic significance to NATO. Each of these states shares a border with Russia, making them the first line of defense against potential Russian aggression. However, their geographical location also makes them susceptible to isolation in the event of a conflict, a scenario that NATO is keen to avoid. This is where the Suwalki Gap comes into play. This seemingly unassuming strip of land, a mere 65 kilometers long, is a critical buffer zone between the Baltic states and the rest of NATO territory. Control over the Suwalki Gap is essential for the movement of troops and supplies between the Baltic states and other NATO countries. Essentially, it's NATO's lifeline to the Baltic states, a crucial link that needs to be preserved at all costs. But why is the Suwalki Gap so significant? Well, it's all about geography. The Suwalki Gap is sandwiched between the Russian enclave of Kaliningrad and Belarus, both areas with significant military presence. If Russia were to control the Suwalki Gap, it could effectively cut off the Baltic states from the rest of NATO, a scenario that would drastically alter the balance of power in the region. The Suwalki Gap, therefore, is a linchpin in NATO's strategy for securing the Baltic states and preserving regional stability. It's a perfect example of how seemingly minor geographical features can have far-reaching implications in the realm of geopolitics. So, while the Suwalki Gap might not be the most well-known piece of land, its strategic significance in the context of NATO's conflict with Russia is undeniable. From Russia's perspective, the Suwalki Gap is equally significant, if not more. This narrow strip of land is a key to a strategic chess game. Controlling the Suwalki Gap could give Russia a distinct advantage, effectively isolating the Baltic states. This, in turn, would limit NATO's ability to reinforce these nations in the event of a conflict. Moreover, the Suwalki Gap could serve as a land bridge for Russia, linking the heavily fortified Kaliningrad with Belarus. This would not only enhance Russia's military posture in the region, but also potentially shift the balance of power. Imagine this: a chessboard where control over a single square could dramatically alter the game. That's the Suwalki Gap for Russia. It's a seemingly minor geographic feature with potentially major geopolitical implications. The Suwalki Gap, therefore, is a potential chess piece in Russia's strategic game against NATO. The future of the Suwalki Gap is inextricably linked with NATO's commitment to collective defense and deterrence. In the wake of escalating tensions with Russia, NATO has amplified its presence in this strategically essential corridor. How so? Through increased troop deployments, for starters. In a world where the balance of power can shift with the movement of a single battalion, every soldier counts. But it's not just about boots on the ground. NATO has also been investing heavily in infrastructure within the Suwalki Gap area. Think roads, bridges, and railways, the lifelines of any military operation. This not only enhances the alliance's operational readiness, but also sends a clear message to potential aggressors. NATO is ready, willing, and able to defend its territory. In the end, the Suwalki Gap is a testament to the immense strategic significance of seemingly minor geographic features. It's a reminder that sometimes the smallest pieces on the chessboard can have the most profound impact on the game.